My home life was very bizarre in the sense that it was whimsical and beautiful and very creative on the surface. My mother is a fashion designer and she knit beautiful dresses and created amazing clothes in the Soviet Union when you couldn't buy anything beautiful. My father is a writer, so he would read me poetry or tell these impossibly awesome tall tales. On the surface, underneath that, there was yelling, beating, and then incidents of me being touched how I didn't want to be, and that went further than I could understand what it was. I always knew something was off, I just couldn't remember what it was. And I made myself so sick just from working nonstop that I didn't have to think of what was happening with my body. And then my sister was getting married, and so I went back to Russia to see her and her fiance. I haven't seen my father in years, and I have changed, living in a different country, which I came here not knowing English. And I created literally a new identity for myself. So when I came back, and he was not very nice to her, calling her names and just in general being his violent self verbally. And it was the first time that I spoke back to my father. I said, "Don't talk like that to my sister." And he was in shock. He came up to me to make peace. He kissed the top of my head and said, why are you talking to me like that? Daddy loves you." I came back and I started having panic attacks. That was a trigger. The final one, when my ex-husband was with me, he's my dear friend, and he helped me through a lot of it. He leaned over me in bed when I had it, and it hit me. I remember it. I was like, oh my God, it was my father who sexually abused me. That's when I knew, and that's when I knew I needed help. And that is what is happening here in Roanoke Park Counseling with amazing therapists. I love Pura so much, my therapist. Like, she's almost like my family that I've never had, and like the figure for wise mother and the wise friend and just the wise advisor, which is seeing that we're not broken.
Here at Roanoke Park, we offer individual therapy for people who are sexually abused in childhood. And what's remarkable here is that there is no rush for that therapy to be over. It gets to take as long as it takes.
One of our core values, which we really rely on, is we believe in the healing capacity of human connection. That healing actually comes through a connection with a human being. And that's so relevant for survivors because they're cut off. When a child is abused, they're cut off from true human connection. They keep to themselves, they doubt themselves. And so when people can come to therapy and open up, have the connection with the therapist, that in and of itself is healing. It's a safe place.
What I found always helped me was to just try to put it into words. So for me, writing helped because the page couldn't tell me to shut up, or it couldn't tell me go do this or do that. It just listened. And that is really what you will find at Roanoke Park Counseling, and specifically with therapists who are trained to help you, is listening. The kind of listening that you have never had from anyone.
Because of the nature of the work we do, we know absolutely that it's hard, that it takes courage. It is probably not work that will be done in just a handful of times, and that we stand fully ready to do the work with people, as hard and as challenging as it may be, until they're done.
If you're thinking about getting help at Roanoke Park Counseling, I would say just pick up the phone and call. There's always this fear of, is this it? Are they gonna help me? Because you've been probably burned before, or maybe you haven't gotten what you wanted. It really takes professional people to give you help where they know exactly what you're dealing with. They know exactly how to respond, and they know exactly how to help. And I have never in my life seen anything like it.
The financial consequences of the pandemic as a country, as a world, I think we're realizing it's affected so many people in so many ways. And that's, of course, affecting the work we do with survivors here. We are seeing a lot of clients that are saying, I can't afford it, and it is really our desire to do what we can and make sure that people can get the help that they need. But this is not going to change anytime soon. So the community certainly can support us by just remembering that we're continuing to do this every single day and working as hard as we can to be there for survivors. And also, of course, whatever financial way is available to be able to support our work right now. So meaningful, so important, and we just appreciate it so much.
I want to shout to everybody, and I always talk to everybody about like Roanoke Park counseling. I want to flood it with people, which on one end is really tragic if you think about how many of us are out there who need help. But on another, this help is so incredible that it will accelerate you through life. So if you've lost these 20, 30 years struggling, you will catch up really fast. And then you realize you didn't lose those years. You know, they become the added 20 years on top of your life experience, what you know, what other people don't know. And another benefit you'll get is maybe then you can turn around and help others. Because once you see how you can be helped where you believed that you couldn't, then you go, wow, I want to help other people.